The security camera footage doesn't lie. That's what I tell my clients when I install their systems, and it's what I'm telling myself now as I watch my wife Emily stage her own home invasion on our living room monitor. My name is Jake Morrison, and I've been installing security systems for 12 years. I know every angle, every blind spot, every way people try to beat the cameras. What I'm watching right now is amateur hour, but it's going to destroy my best friend's life if I don't do something about it. Jake, thank goodness you're home. Emily's voice carries from the living room, high-pitched and theatrical. I can hear Pete's confused protests in the background, along with the approaching sirens. 20 minutes ago, I was finishing a job across town, installing motion sensors for a paranoid lawyer who thinks his ex-wife is stalking him. Now I'm crouched in my home office, watching security footage that shows my wife of 8 years methodically destroying our living room, hiding rubber gloves behind the couch cushions, and practicing her victim pose. The timestamp shows 7:43 p.m. At 7:47, she called the police. At 7:52, she called me, sobbing about how Pete Martinez, my best friend since high school, had broken in and attacked her. Pete, who's been like a brother to me for 25 years. Pete, who was supposed to be fixing Emily's BMW in our driveway tonight as a favor. Pete, who wouldn't hurt a spider, let alone a woman. The front door slams. Jake? Are you here? I need you. I minimize the video window and head downstairs. Emily is collapsed dramatically on the couch, her designer blouse artfully torn, mascara streaked down her cheeks. 2 patrol officers are taking notes, while Pete stands in the corner looking like someone just told him his dog got hit by a truck. There he is. Officer Martinez, no relation to Pete, looks up from his notepad. Mr. Morrison, we need to ask you some questions about tonight. Of course. I keep my voice steady, but inside I'm calculating angles and evidence chains. What happened here? Emily launches into her performance. How she was alone, how Pete let himself in through the back door, how he grabbed her and tried to... She trails off, leaving implications hanging in the air like smoke. Pete's face goes white. Jake, man, I swear I never even came inside. I was working on the transmission in the driveway, and then suddenly there were sirens everywhere. He's lying, Emily whispers, clutching my arm. Jake, he said terrible things about you, about us. I think he's been planning this. The officers exchange glances. I know that look. They're already building their case, already deciding who's the victim and who's the predator. Can we talk privately? I ask Emily, keeping my voice gentle and concerned. Not right now, Officer Martinez interrupts. We need to process the scene first. For the next hour, I watch them photograph our living room, bag the rubber gloves Emily planted, and take Pete away in handcuffs. My best friend looks back at me through the patrol car window, confusion and betrayal written across his face. Emily clings to me as they drive away. I'm so sorry, Jake. I know how much Pete meant to you, but I had to tell the truth. Of course you did, I murmur, stroking her hair. You did exactly the right thing. She pulls back to look at me, and for just a moment, I see something flicker in her eyes. Calculation, satisfaction. Then it's gone, replaced by tears and trembling. I need a shower, she whispers. I feel so dirty. While Emily's upstairs washing off her performance, I return to my office and copy the security footage to 3 separate drives. Then I start digging deeper into the system logs. What I find makes my hands shake with rage. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Emily disabled the motion sensors at 7:30 p.m. She knew exactly which camera angles would catch her little show and which ones wouldn't. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. This was planned. But why? What does she gain by destroying Pete? I'm still puzzling over her motives when my phone buzzes. Text message from an unknown number. Sorry about your friend. Some people just can't be trusted. G. Grant. Whitmore, the golden boy real estate developer who's been sniffing around Emily's interior design business for months. Grant, with his perfect teeth and his expensive suits and his habit of touching my wife's shoulder just a little too long at social gatherings. The pieces start falling into place like dominoes. Emily's been working late more often. New clothes, new perfume, new attitude about our boring social circle. She's been pushing me to spend more time with Pete, encouraging our guys' nights out, practically shoving me out the door. She needed me away from the house. She needed Pete here as the fall guy. And she needed a reason to blow up our marriage without looking like the villain. My phone rings. Emily's sister, calling to check on her. Then Emily's business partner, Miranda. Then 3 of her book club friends. Word travels fast in our little social ecosystem, and Emily's already spinning the narrative. Poor Emily. Traumatized Emily. Brave Emily, who survived an attack from her husband's dangerous friend. By morning, Pete will be the monster, and Emily will be the victim. Her reputation stays pristine while she runs off with Grant Whitmore, probably taking half our assets and most of her business connections with her. It's actually brilliant, in a sociopathic kind of way. I hear the shower turn off upstairs. Emily will be down soon, ready for the next act of her performance. The devoted wife, standing by her husband despite his poor judgment in Friends. But Emily made one critical mistake. She forgot that I'm very, very good with security systems, and I'm about to become very, very good at revenge. Pete's arraignment is scheduled for Monday morning. That gives me exactly 3 days to gather evidence and figure out how to destroy my wife's life without landing in prison myself. Saturday morning, Emily's putting on quite a show for the neighbors. She's got dark circles under her eyes, probably from staying up late texting Grant, and she flinches whenever anyone mentions Pete's name. "I just can't believe it," she tells Mrs. Henderson from next door, who's brought over a casserole and a hungry look for gossip. "Pete seemed so normal. You never really know people, do you?" Mrs. Henderson makes sympathetic noises while mentally composing her phone calls to the other neighborhood wives. By noon, Pete Martinez will be a convicted criminal in the court of suburban opinion. I excuse myself and drive to Pete's auto shop. The place is closed, obviously, but I have keys. Pete and I have been trading favors for years. I keep his security system running. He keeps my truck from falling apart. The shop smells like motor oil and honest work. Pete's tools are arranged with military precision, each wrench and socket in its designated place. He learned that kind of discipline in the Marines before he came home and built this business from nothing. Now it's all going to collapse because my wife needed a patsy for her escape plan. I fire up Pete's computer and start digging through his appointment calendar. Sure enough, Emily scheduled her BMW service for Friday evening, specifically requesting that Pete work on it at our house instead of the shop. She told him our driveway had better lighting. The appointment was made 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks of planning and preparation for one night of theater. My phone buzzes. Text from Emily. "Where are you? I need you here." I text back, "Running errands. Home soon." Another buzz, this one from Grant Whitmore. "Terrible situation with your friend. If you need anything, just ask." The sheer audacity of it makes me laugh out loud. Grant's probably sitting in his downtown condo right now, planning his victory celebration. I spend another hour at Pete's shop, copying files and looking for any connection between Pete and Emily that might explain her choice of victim. What I find instead is Pete's insurance file. Pete's been struggling financially. His ex-wife cleaned him out in the divorce, and he's been working extra jobs to keep the shop afloat. Emily knew this. She knew Pete was vulnerable, desperate enough to work evenings for cash under the table. She picked him because he was weak, because he needed the money badly enough to come to our house after hours, alone, with no witnesses except the security cameras she thought she could control. Cold calculation, masquerading as feminine intuition. I lock up the shop and drive home, my mind working through possibilities. Emily's not stupid, Manipulative and ruthless, yes, but not stupid. She'll have contingency plans, backup stories, ways to deflect suspicion if anyone starts asking uncomfortable questions. But she's also arrogant. She thinks she's the smartest person in the room, always has. It's what attracted me to her initially, back when I was young enough to mistake arrogance for confidence. Now, it's going to be her downfall. Emily's waiting in the kitchen when I get home, still playing the traumatized victim. She's made lunch, grilled cheese and tomato soup, comfort food designed to emphasize her need for normalcy after her ordeal. "How are you holding up?" I ask, sliding into my usual chair. "Better, I think." She gives me a brave smile. I keep thinking about Pete, though. What made him snap like that? Was he angry about something? Money problems, maybe? She's fishing, trying to figure out if Pete might have a motive that would make her story more believable. I decide to give her what she wants. "Actually, yeah, Pete's been struggling since the divorce. I think he's behind on the shop rent, maybe losing the business." Emily's eyes brighten slightly. "That's so sad. Do you think he blamed you somehow? Maybe he thought you should have helped him more?" "Maybe." I take a bite of grilled cheese, watching her face. "He did seem resentful lately. Made some comments about how easy we have it, how some people get all the breaks." It's complete fiction, but Emily latches onto it like a lifeline. She's already composing the narrative in her head. Pete, the bitter failure, lashing out at his successful friend by attacking the friend's wife. "We should probably mention that to the police," she says carefully. "It might help them understand his state of mind." "Good thinking." I reach across the table and squeeze her hand. I'm lucky to have someone so smart. She squeezes back, and I feel the slight callus on her ring finger where her wedding band has worn a groove in her skin over 8 years of marriage. Soon she'll take that ring off for the last time, probably leaving it on the kitchen counter with a note about needing space to heal. But not if I destroy her first. After lunch, Emily announces she's going to her studio to catch up on work. "I need to keep busy," she explains. "Keep my mind off things." More likely she needs to coordinate with Grant, maybe start moving money or making arrangements for her new life. I let her go, then settle in my office to plan phase 1 of my counterattack. Emily's social media presence is carefully curated, all successful businesswoman and devoted wife, with just enough vulnerability to seem relatable. She's got 15,000 followers on Instagram, most of them potential clients or networking contacts. Her reputation is everything to her. It's her livelihood, her identity, her weapon against people like Pete who don't have the right connections or the right image. It's also her greatest weakness. I start with small things. A few anonymous comments on her recent posts, questioning details about her business credentials, a fake review on her company's website mentioning unprofessional behavior and missed deadlines. Nothing traceable back to me, but enough to plant seeds of doubt. Then I move to phase 2. Grant Whitmore. Grant's even more image-conscious than Emily, if that's possible. His real estate empire depends on his reputation as the city's golden boy. Philanthropist, community leader, successful entrepreneur. He's got political ambitions, everyone knows it. Probably planning to run for city council next year. Men like Grant have everything to lose and no idea how to fight dirty. They're used to winning through connections and charm, not through actual combat. Time to give him an education. I spend the rest of Saturday afternoon researching Grant's business dealings, his social connections, his weak points. What I find is interesting. Grant's been buying up properties in the warehouse district, right where the city's planning to build a new convention center. The kind of inside information that could make someone very rich if they knew where to invest. The kind of information that might come from pillow talk with an interior designer who works on city projects. By evening, I have the beginnings of a plan. It's risky, complicated, and requires perfect timing. But if it works, Emily and Grant will destroy each other while I sit back and watch. Emily comes home around 8, claiming she spent the day organizing client files. She looks tired but satisfied, like someone who's accomplished something important. "How was your day?" she asks, kissing my cheek. "Quiet. I've been thinking about Pete a lot." "Try not to blame yourself, Jake. You couldn't have known what he was planning." "I suppose not." I pull her close, smelling Grant's cologne faintly on her hair. "I love you, Em. Whatever happens, I want you to know that." She looks up at me, and for just a moment, I see guilt flicker across her features. Then she buries her face against my shoulder. "I love you too," she whispers. It's probably the first honest thing she's said all day. Monday morning arrives gray and drizzly. Perfect weather for watching my best friend get arraigned for a crime he didn't commit. Emily's already at the courthouse, playing the brave victim for the local news cameras. I'm not there with her. Instead, I'm parked outside Grant Whitmore's office building, watching him arrive in his silver Porsche. Grant's the kind of man who thinks expensive cars make him interesting. Today, his Porsche is about to make him very sorry. I wait until he disappears into the elevator, then get to work. Sugar in the gas tank is a myth. It doesn't actually damage engines. But industrial adhesive in the door locks, scratches along the paint, spelling out liar, and 4 slashed tires definitely send a message. I'm back in my truck and gone before building security notices anything. Phase 1 complete. My phone rings as I'm driving home. Emily, calling from the courthouse. "Jake, where are you? I needed you here." "Sorry, Em. Emergency service call. Rich client, you know how it is." "Well, it's over now. Pete's being held without bail. The judge said he's a flight risk." "That's probably for the best," I say, hating every word. "Maybe he'll get the help he needs." "Maybe." Emily's voice is flat, distracted. "I'm going to stop by the studio before I come home. Miranda wants to discuss some changes to our client contracts." Miranda Chen, Emily's business partner. Another piece of this puzzle I need to understand better. "Take your time. I'll probably be out most of the day anyway." I hang up and drive to Miranda's house instead of going home. Miranda lives in one of the trendy converted lofts downtown, the kind of place that screams creative professional to potential clients. She answers the door in yoga pants and an oversized sweater, looking surprised to see me. "Jake, what are you doing here?" "I wanted to thank you for supporting Emily through this mess with Pete. I know it can't be easy for the business." Miranda's expression shifts slightly. "Of course. Emily's my partner. We look out for each other." "That's good to hear. I was worried this whole situation might hurt your reputation with clients." "Why would it hurt our reputation?" I shrug. "You know how people talk. Emily's judgment is being questioned and you two are partners. Some clients might wonder if they can trust either of you." Miranda's face goes pale. "That's ridiculous. Emily's the victim here." "I know that. You know that. But clients don't always see the big picture, do they?" I leave her standing in the doorway, doubt written across her face like graffiti. Phase 2 complete. The beauty of psychological warfare is that you don't need to lie. You just need to plant the right truths in the right minds at the right time. Miranda's been building her client base for 5 years, and she's not going to let Emily's drama destroy everything she's worked for. My next stop is Pete's lawyer, a public defender named Tom Bradley who looks like he's about 12 years old and handles twice as many cases as he should. "Mr. Morrison," Bradley stands up when I enter his cramped office. "I was hoping you'd come in. I need to ask you some questions about Mr. Martinez." "That's why I'm here. I want to help Pete however I can." Bradley opens a file folder. "Your wife's statement says Mr. Martinez had been acting strangely lately. Angry, resentful, making comments about your marriage. Is that accurate?" "Pete's been under a lot of stress," I say carefully. "Financial problems mostly. But angry at me? No, never. Pete's not that kind of person." "What about your wife? Any reason he might have targeted her specifically?" I pretend to think about it. "Well, Emily did turn down his request for a loan last month. Pete needed money to keep his shop running, and Emily handles our finances. She said it was too risky." This is another complete fabrication, but Bradley writes it down eagerly. A financial motive that doesn't make Pete look like a monster, just a desperate man who made a terrible decision. That's helpful, Bradley says. It gives us something to work with. There's something else. I lean forward conspiratorially. I probably shouldn't say this, but Emily's been acting strange too. Secretive, working late, getting mysterious phone calls. I'm starting to wonder if there's more to this story. Bradley's pen stops moving. What kind of more? I don't know. Maybe Pete found out something he wasn't supposed to know. Maybe this wasn't random. I leave Bradley's office knowing he'll investigate Emily's background more thoroughly now. He'll find the connection to Grant, the suspicious timing, the financial irregularities. Maybe not enough to clear Pete completely, but enough to raise reasonable doubt. Phase 3, complete. By the time I get home, Emily's car is in the driveway. I find her in the kitchen, pacing back and forth while talking on her phone. No, Grant, you're overreacting. It's just vandalism. Probably kids. She sees me and quickly ends the call. Everything okay? I ask. Someone vandalized Grant's car today. Can you believe it? What kind of person does something like that? Probably someone who doesn't like real estate developers. They're not exactly popular these days. Emily frowns. Grant's different. He actually cares about the community. If you say so. I grab a beer from the refrigerator. How did Miranda take the news about Pete? What do you mean? About the arrest. I figured she'd be worried about the business implications. Emily's frown deepens. Why would she be worried? Come on, Em. Your business partner's husband gets arrested for assault. That's going to make some clients nervous. Miranda's probably wondering if she should distance herself from the situation. That's ridiculous. Miranda would never... Emily stops mid-sentence, her face going through a series of calculations. Never what? Nothing. Miranda's fine. We're fine. But I can see the doubt creeping in, the same doubt I planted with Miranda this morning. Emily's starting to wonder if her carefully constructed plan might have some unintended consequences. My phone buzzes. Text message from an unknown number. We need to talk. Coffee tomorrow, 10 a.m., Riverside Cafe. M. Miranda wants to meet. Perfect. Emily's phone rings again. This time it's her mother, calling with questions about Pete and sympathy about Emily's ordeal. Emily takes the call upstairs, giving me privacy to plan the next phase. Tomorrow I'll meet with Miranda and learn more about Emily's business arrangements. I'll also make sure Grant gets another unpleasant surprise, something that will make him paranoid and sloppy. But tonight, I'm going to do something that will really hurt Emily where she lives, her social media presence. I create 3 fake accounts with stolen photos and believable backstories. Then I start commenting on Emily's recent posts, asking innocent questions that cast doubt on her narrative. So scary. Did you have a security system? I'm thinking of getting one installed. Wait, wasn't this the same guy who helped you move last year? I thought you said he was like family. My cousin went through something similar. The police said most home invasions are committed by people the victim knows. Makes you think. Within an hour, Emily's comment sections are buzzing with speculation and questions she can't answer without contradicting her story. Her followers are starting to connect dots she never wanted connected. Emily comes back downstairs looking agitated. People are being so weird online, she complains. Asking all these strange questions about Pete, about our security system, about things that are none of their business. That's the internet for you. Everyone thinks they're a detective. It's not funny, Jake. This is my livelihood we're talking about. Then maybe you should take a break from social media for a while. Let things calm down. Emily stares at me like I've suggested she cut off her own arm. Her online presence is everything to her. Validation, marketing, social proof of her success and happiness. I can't just disappear. People will think I have something to hide. What could you possibly have to hide? Emily doesn't answer, but I can see the wheels turning in her head. She's starting to realize that her perfect plan might not be so perfect after all. She spends the rest of the evening frantically responding to comments and messages, trying to control a narrative that's already spinning out of her control. I go to bed early, leaving her hunched over her laptop in the living room, fighting a battle she doesn't even know she's already lost. The Riverside Cafe is one of those places that tries too hard to be bohemian. Exposed brick walls, mismatched furniture, and coffee that costs more than most people spend on lunch. Miranda's already there when I arrive, nursing a latte and looking like she hasn't slept. "Thanks for meeting me," she says as I sit down. "Of course. We're all in this together, right?" Miranda doesn't look convinced. "Jake, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me." "Shoot. Is Emily having an affair?" The question hangs between us like smoke. I take my time stirring sugar into my coffee, letting the silence build. "Why would you ask that?" "Because I'm not stupid." Miranda leans forward, lowering her voice. "Emily's been different lately. Secretive. Working late but not actually getting more work done. And now this thing with Pete feels convenient." "Convenient how?" "Come on, Jake. Emily stages a home invasion, Pete gets arrested, and suddenly Emily's free to start over with a clean slate and public sympathy. It's like something out of a movie." I study Miranda's face. She's scared, angry, and desperately trying to protect herself from the fallout of Emily's choices. "What makes you think she staged it?" Miranda pulls out her phone and shows me a photo. It's Emily and Grant Whitmore at some restaurant, sitting close together, his hand on her thigh. "I took this 3 weeks ago. I was having dinner with a client when I saw them. Emily told me she was visiting her sister that night." 3 weeks ago, right around the time Emily scheduled Pete's appointment. "Have you confronted her about it?" "Not yet. I wanted to talk to you first." Miranda's hands are shaking slightly. "Jake, if this comes out, it's going to destroy our business. I've worked too hard to let Emily's drama ruin everything." "What do you want me to do about it?" "Help me figure out how to minimize the damage. Maybe we can get Emily to quietly dissolve the partnership. Let me buy her out before this gets worse." I pretend to consider this. That might work. But Emily's not going to give up the business easily. It's her identity. Then we make it her idea. Show her that staying is going to hurt her more than leaving. Miranda's not as naive as I thought. She's already thinking like a survivor, ready to throw Emily overboard to save herself. "I might be able to help with that," I say. "But I need to know everything. Every detail about Emily's relationship with Grant, every business deal they might have discussed, every lie she's told." Miranda talks for the next hour, painting a picture of Emily's deception that's even worse than I imagined. Emily's been feeding Grant inside information about city development projects for months. She's been using the business credit cards for personal expenses. She's been lying to clients about project timelines to cover her affair-related absences. "There's something else," Miranda says as we're getting ready to leave. "Emily's been moving money. Small amounts, but consistent. I think she's building an escape fund." "How much?" "Maybe 30,000 so far. She thinks I don't notice, but I handle the books too." $30,000. Enough to start over somewhere new, maybe with a certain real estate developer who's about to need a fresh start himself. I thank Miranda and drive straight to Grant's office building. His Porsche is in the parking garage, freshly repaired but still bearing faint scratches, where my keywork showed through the new paint job. This time I don't touch the car. Instead, I slip an envelope under his windshield wiper and walk away. The envelope contains printouts of Emily's social media posts from the past 6 months, with certain details highlighted in yellow. Posts about working late that correspond to dates when Miranda saw them together. Photos from restaurants and events where Grant appears in the background. A timeline that makes their relationship obvious to anyone paying attention. At the bottom of the stack, I've included a note. "Your girlfriend's story is falling apart. Might want to distance yourself before you go down with her." A friend. Phase 4. Complete. That evening, Emily's in full crisis mode. Her phone has been ringing constantly. Reporters, clients, social media followers asking uncomfortable questions. The narrative she's worked so hard to control is crumbling in real time. "I don't understand what's happening," she says, pacing around the living room. "It's like everyone's turned against me overnight." "Maybe you should call Grant," I suggest innocently. "He seems to care about you. Maybe he can help." Emily's face goes pale. "Why would I call Grant? He offered to help yesterday, remember? And he's got connections, political influence. Maybe he can make some calls, get people to back off." "I can't ask Grant to get involved in this. It wouldn't be appropriate." "Since when do you care about appropriate?" The words slip out before I can stop them. Emily stares at me, something shifting in her expression. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. I'm just stressed about Pete, about all of this. I'm not thinking clearly." But Emily's not buying it anymore. She's starting to see the cracks in my performance, just like I saw through hers. Her phone buzzes. Text message. She glances at it and her face goes white. "Who was that?" "Nobody. Wrong number." But I catch a glimpse of the screen before she turns it away. It's from Grant. "We have a problem. Meet me tonight. Usual place." The usual place. They have a usual place. Emily makes an excuse about needing to run errands and leaves the house. I give her a 10-minute head start, then follow. She drives to the Marriott downtown, parks in the back lot, and takes the elevator to the 3rd floor. I watch from my truck as lights come on in room 314. Grant's car is already there. I sit in the parking lot for 2 hours, watching their shadows move behind the curtains, imagining their conversation. Grant's probably panicking about the envelope I left, demanding to know if Emily told anyone about their relationship. Emily's probably trying to calm him down, reassure him that everything's under control. But nothing's under control anymore. Their perfect plan is collapsing, and they're both too selfish to go down together gracefully. When Emily finally comes home, she looks like she's been crying. Her makeup is smudged, her hair disheveled, her confident facade completely gone. "How were your errands?" I ask. "Fine. Just had to pick up some things from the office." "At the Marriott?" Emily freezes halfway up the stairs. "What? Your office moved to the Marriott? That's interesting." She turns around slowly, and I can see her calculating how much I know, how much I've figured out. "Jake, I can explain." "I'm sure you can. You're very good at explaining things, almost as good as you are at staging them." The pretense finally drops. Emily's face hardens, and for the first time in days, I'm seeing the real her. "How long have you known?" "About Grant? Weeks? About Pete? Since it happened? About the money you've been stealing from the business? Since this morning?" Emily sinks down onto the stairs, all the fight going out of her. "What do you want?" "I want my best friend out of jail. I want you gone from my life. And I want everyone to know exactly what kind of person you really are." "And if I don't cooperate?" I smile, and it's not a nice smile. "Then tomorrow morning, the police get copies of our security footage. The newspapers get copies of Miranda's photos. Your clients get copies of your financial records. And Grant gets to explain to his political backers why he's been sleeping with a woman who framed an innocent man for assault." Emily stares at me for a long moment, then starts to laugh. It's a bitter, desperate sound. "You think you've won, don't you? You think you've outsmarted me? Haven't I? Jake, you have no idea what you're dealing with. Grant has connections you can't imagine. Money, influence, power. If you try to destroy us, we'll destroy you first." "With what? More lies? More fake crimes?" Emily stands up, and suddenly she looks dangerous again. "With the truth about what really happened 5 years ago. About the Henderson fire. About why you were never charged." The Henderson fire. I haven't thought about that night in years, but suddenly it's all flooding back. The emergency call, the faulty wiring I'd installed, The family that almost didn't make it out. That was an accident. The investigation cleared me. The investigation was incomplete. Grant has friends in the fire department. We know about the shortcuts you took, the permits you faked, the inspections you bribed your way through. My mouth goes dry. You're bluffing. Am I? How do you think it's going to look when that information comes out? Jake Morrison, the security expert who burns down houses. Jake Morrison, who let his best friend take the fall for his wife's assault while hiding his own criminal history. She's got me, and she knows it. One phone call from Grant, and my life is over. My business, my reputation, my freedom, all of it gone. What do you want? I ask. Emily smiles, and it's the coldest thing I've ever seen. I want you to confess to framing Pete. I want you to tell the police you staged the whole thing because you were jealous of his friendship with me. I want you to take responsibility for destroying an innocent man's life. And if I do that, then Grant and I disappear quietly. No scandal, no drama, no revelations about your past. You go to prison for a few years, Pete goes free, and everyone gets what they deserve. Except me. You should have thought about that before you decided to play games with people who are smarter than you. Emily turns and walks up the stairs, leaving me standing in the hallway with the wreckage of my plans scattered around my feet. But she's made one crucial mistake. She's assumed that I'm the same man who cut corners and made bad choices 5 years ago. She's assumed that I still have something left to lose. She's wrong on both counts. I spend the night in my office, not sleeping, not planning, just thinking about the man I used to be and the man I've become. The Henderson fire was a turning point, the moment I realized that cutting corners always costs more than doing things right. I've been paying for that mistake ever since, in small ways and large ones. But I've also been learning about patience, about precision, about the difference between being clever and being smart. Emily thinks she's won because she's got leverage over my past. What she doesn't understand is that I've been preparing for this moment for 5 years. At dawn, I make 3 phone calls. The first is to Tom Bradley, Pete's lawyer. I tell him I've found new evidence that will clear his client, but I need 24 hours to verify it. Bradley's skeptical, but he agrees to delay any plea negotiations. The second call is to Detective Sarah Walsh, the investigator who handled the Henderson fire. Walsh is retired now, but we've stayed in touch. She's always suspected there was more to that case than what made it into the official report. Jake, it's been a while. What can I do for you? I need a favor, Sarah, a big one, and I need to tell you some things I should have told you 5 years ago. The third call is to Miranda. I need you to do something for me, I tell her. Something that's going to save your business and put Emily exactly where she belongs. What kind of something? The kind that requires you to trust me completely and ask no questions until it's over. Miranda's silent for a long moment. Then, what do you need? By noon, all the pieces are in motion. Emily's at her studio, probably coordinating with Grant about their next move. She thinks she's got me cornered, ready to confess to crimes I didn't commit to protect secrets I'm tired of keeping. She's about to learn the difference between blackmail and justice. Detective Walsh arrives first, followed by Tom Bradley and a court stenographer. We gather in my living room, the same room where Emily staged her performance 4 days ago. Mr. Morrison, Walsh begins, you said you had information about the Henderson fire that you didn't share during the original investigation. That's correct. I take a deep breath. I lied during my initial interview. I did cut corners on that installation, and I did falsify some inspection records, but I wasn't the only one involved. I hand Walsh a folder containing 5 years' worth of carefully preserved evidence, bank records showing payments from Grant Whitmore's construction company, email exchanges about bypassing safety inspections, photographs of other installations where the same corners were cut. Grant Whitmore was pressuring contractors to reduce costs and speed up timelines on his residential projects. He offered bonuses for early completion and penalties for delays. When I raised safety concerns, he threatened to blacklist me from future projects. Walsh studies the documents. Why didn't you come forward with this before? Because I was guilty too. I chose money over safety, and people almost died because of that choice. I've been trying to make amends ever since. And why are you coming forward now? Because Grant Whitmore is about to destroy another innocent person to protect himself. And because I'm done being afraid of the consequences of telling the truth. I explain everything. Emily's affair with Grant, the staged home invasion, Pete's wrongful arrest, the blackmail attempt. I show them the security footage, the financial records, the timeline of lies and manipulation. By the time I'm finished, Walsh is shaking her head in disgust, and Bradley is grinning like he just won the lottery. This is enough to clear Pete and file charges against your wife and Whitmore, Walsh says. But you understand you'll likely face charges related to the Henderson fire. I understand. I'm ready to take responsibility for what I did. And you're willing to testify against Whitmore and your wife? Absolutely. As Walsh and Bradley are leaving, my phone rings. Emily, calling from the studio. Jake, we need to talk. Grant's getting nervous about our arrangement. He thinks we should move up our timeline. What timeline is that? Your confession. We want you to turn yourself in today. Interesting timing. I just had a visit from Detective Walsh. Silence on the other end of the line. Emily, you still there? What did you tell her? The truth. All of it. About Grant, about the Henderson fire, about what you did to Pete. It's over, Em. I can hear Emily breathing hard, probably panicking. You can't do this. If you expose Grant, he'll destroy both of us. Grant's not going to destroy anyone. He's going to be too busy dealing with fraud charges and conspiracy allegations. Turns out the fire department kept better records than he thought. Emily hangs up without another word. 20 minutes later, Miranda calls. It's done, she says. Emily just cleaned out the business accounts and left. She took everything she could carry and drove off like the building was on fire. And the other thing? Already uploaded. Every social media platform, every business networking site, every place her reputation matters. The photos, the financial records, the timeline. It's all public now. Phase 5. Complete. I spend the rest of the afternoon watching Emily's world collapse in real time. Her social media accounts are flooded with comments and questions she can't answer. Her clients are calling Miranda to terminate their contracts. Her carefully constructed image is crumbling faster than she can delete the evidence. Grant's having an even worse day. The fire department has reopened the Henderson investigation, and this time they're looking at his entire construction operation. The newspapers have picked up the story about his relationship with Emily and its connection to Pete's arrest. His political backers are distancing themselves so fast they're leaving skid marks. By evening, both Emily and Grant have disappeared. Their phones go straight to voicemail, their offices are empty, and their social media accounts have been deactivated. But they can't run far enough or fast enough to escape what's coming. Detective Walsh calls me around 8 p.m. We've issued warrants for both of them. Fraud, conspiracy, filing false reports, tampering with evidence. It's going to be a long list. What about Pete? All charges dropped. He'll be released first thing tomorrow morning. And me? The DA's reviewing your cooperation in this case. Given that you came forward voluntarily and provided evidence that solved multiple crimes, they're inclined to be lenient. Probably community service, restitution, maybe some probation. It's more mercy than I deserve, but I'll take it. I drive to the county jail the next morning to pick up Pete. He looks older, tired, but not broken. When he sees me, he doesn't say anything for a long moment. Then he punches me in the shoulder. Next time you want to clear my name, maybe give me a heads up first. I'll keep that in mind. We drive back to his auto shop in comfortable silence. Pete's got work to catch up on, a business to rebuild, a reputation to restore. It won't be easy, but Pete's never been afraid of hard work. You know what the funny thing is? He says, as we're pulling into his parking lot. What's that? Emily could have just asked for a divorce, would have saved everyone a lot of trouble. Emily never did anything the simple way. Pete laughs. True enough. You gonna be okay, Jake? I think about it. My marriage is over, my business is damaged, and I'm probably going to jail. But for the first time in 5 years, I'm not carrying around secrets that eat at me in the middle of the night. Yeah, I tell him. I think I'm going to be fine. 3 weeks later, Emily and Grant are arrested trying to board a flight to Costa Rica. They're brought back to face charges that will probably keep them busy for the next decade. Pete's shop is busier than ever. Nothing like being the victim of a high-profile false accusation to generate sympathy customers. Miranda's interior design business is thriving now that she doesn't have Emily's drama weighing it down. And me? I'm serving 6 months in minimum security and 5 years probation for my role in the Henderson fire. It's not pleasant, but it's fair. More importantly, it's honest. Sometimes the truth costs more than lies, but it's always worth the price. The security cameras in my cell block don't lie either, and for the first time in years, I don't have anything to hide from them.